Hello friends, welcome to my daily current affairs channel. In this video, we are going to discuss questions related to banking with particular emphasis to Reserve Bank of India. Most of these questions are expected to appear in many competitive exams, particularly IBPS PO, IBPS clerk, RBI Grade B and RBI assistant. And these questions are also expected to be appearing in several other competitive exams also. So let us discuss the questions, friends. Question number 1. Recently, RBI has launched 100 days, 100 pays campaign. The campaign is related to. So whatever recent campaigns the Reserve Bank of India has launched, so there is a high probability of expecting these questions. So once again, I'll repeat the question. Recently, RBI has launched 100 days, 100 pays campaign. The campaign is related to. So the answer is return of unclaimed deposits. Option B. I would like to give a brief introduction about what exactly this campaign is about. This is about a return of unclaimed deposits. What exactly is an unclaimed deposit? So balances in the savings or current account which are not operated for 10 years or term deposits not claimed within 10 years from the date of maturity are classified as unclaimed deposits. So there is a huge amount of unclaimed deposits lying with the Reserve Bank of India. So whatever these unclaimed deposits are there, they're transferred to the Depositor Education and Awareness Fund with the Reserve Bank of India. So there is a very huge sum lying with RBI, and they are intending to return whatever unclaimed deposits are there, to settle these unclaimed deposits to the original beneficiaries. So to make this campaign successful, they have launched this 100 days 100 pays campaign, in which the banks are to trace and settle the top 100 unclaimed deposits of every bank in every district of the country within 100 days. So this campaign is going to start from June 1st, 2023. This is going to be a very important campaign. So once again, 100 days 100 pays campaign is related to return of unclaimed deposits. Now let's move on to the next question. Under India's G20 presidency, the RBI and Dash have jointly launched the fourth edition of the G20 Tech Sprint. I'll repeat the question again. Under India's G20 presidency, the Reserve Bank of India and Dash have jointly launched the fourth edition of the G20 Tech Sprint. As you all are aware that the G20 presidency is with India and it's been running for close to 1 year now. So India along India's under India's G20 presidency, the Reserve Bank of India along with which institution they have launched the fourth edition of the G20 Tech Sprint? The answer is BIS Innovation Hub. BIS is Bank for International Settlements. Its headquarters is in Basel, Switzerland. So RBI along with BIS Innovation Hub of the Bank of International Settlements have launched this G20 Tech Sprint campaign. What exactly is this? G20 Tech Sprint is a global technology competition to promote innovative solutions aimed at improving cross-border payments. If you are aware, like Reserve Bank of India along with the Singapore government, so our UPI system and along with Singapore system, we have launched a cross-border payment system. I'm going to ask that question after some time. There is that question also. So this campaign is aimed at bringing out such innovative campaigns. So we'll move on to the next question. RBI has recently launched which secured web-based centralized portal for simplifying and streamlining applications? RBI has recently launched which secured web-based centralized portal for simplifying and streamlining applications? The answer is option A, Prabah. What does Prabah full form mean? Prabah is platform for regulatory application, validation, and authorization. So what exactly is this web portal Prabah? Various entities are required to obtain license or authorization to carry out activities regulated by RBI. Further, these regulated entities are required to seek certain approvals from RBI under various statutes or regulations periodically. So to reduce the turnaround time, to make sure that these applications are disposed of very quickly, so RBI has introduced a centralized platform with the name Pravaha Platform for Regulatory Application Validation and Authorization. What this does is this will reduce the turnaround time. This will help to process the new applications on a quick basis. Next question. The Reserve Bank of India on April 6, 2023 notified that a software application called Dash has been developed for processing of application for licensing full-fledged money changes FFMCs, non-bank AD category 2, authorization as MTSS agent, renewal of existing license and authorization, for seeking approval as per the extant guidelines and for submission of various statements or returns by FFMCs and non-bank AD category 2. So what is that software application that has been launched by RBI? So the answer is AP Connect. Just remember the answer. AP Connect is the application launched by RBI. Next, recently RBI has issued a framework for acceptance of green deposits. The term green deposit means we have been hearing this term in the news of late very often. So what exactly is a green deposit? Green deposit means it is just like a fixed deposit that we have today. It is an interest bearing deposit received by the regulated entity for a fixed period and the proceeds of which are earmarked for being allocated towards green finance. So I would like to explain this green deposit, what it exactly means and how it differs from a normal fixed deposit. A fixed deposit, you deposit with a bank for example, 1 year and you get some interest on it. And at the end of the 1 year, you're going to get the maturity along with the principal, you're going to get the interest also. Same thing happens with the green deposit also. But the main difference is that the deposits which are opened under green deposits, those will be used for funding eco-friendly projects, green projects, the projects which are environmental friendly. So that is the main difference between green deposits and other term deposits. As I said, green deposits are not very different from the regular deposits that bank accept from their customers. The only major difference is that banks promise to earmark the money that they receive as green deposits towards environment friendly projects. For example, a bank may promise that green deposits will be used towards financing renewable energy projects that fight climate change. Next question. Greenwashing, which is recently in news, means. So we've been hearing this term greenwashing. What exactly it means? The answer is option A. The practice of marketing products or services as green, which in fact they do not meet requirements to be defined as green activities or projects. So this is the practice of marketing products or services as green when they're not meeting the requirements to be classified as green activities or green projects. It is like giving false claims and false information that their services are eco-friendly, whereas they do not meet the criteria to become eco-friendly. Next, the Reserve Bank of India and which central bank on March 15, 2023 signed a Memorandum of Understanding to enhance cooperation and jointly enable innovation in financial products and services. RBI and which central bank have signed an MOU to enhance cooperation and enable innovation in financial products and services. Options are Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, Bank of England, US Federal Reserve and Bank of Ceylon. The answer is Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates. So the Reserve Bank of India along with Central Bank of United Arab Emirates have signed an MOU. Let's move on to the next question. Shri Shaktikanta Das, Governor Reserve Bank of India, on March 22nd laid the foundation stone for establishment of a greenfield data center and enterprise computing and cybersecurity training institute in which city? So these kind of questions have a very high probability of being asked in the exam. RBI Governor on March 22nd laid the foundation stone for establishment of a greenfield data center and enterprise computing and cybersecurity training institute in which city of the country? Answer is option B, Bhubaneswar. So there's not much explanation for this. It is just a static question. The city is Bhubaneswar. Next question. Shri Shaktikanta Das, Governor Reserve Bank of India, on March 6th, on the occasion of Digital Payments Awareness Week 2023, launched the Har Payment Digital Mission. So this Digital Payment Awareness Week was observed from March 6th to March 12th. What is the theme of the campaign? So the theme of this campaign is Digital Payment Apnao Aurong Ko Bhi Sikhao, which loosely translated into English means adopt digital payments and also teach others. So this is the theme of the campaign, Har Payment Digital Mission, as part of the Digital Payment Awareness Week. So question can be asked in different ways also. So they might not ask what exactly is the theme of the campaign. They can ask the Digital Payment Awareness Week was observed from which date. So the answer will be March 6 to March 12. Let's move on to the next question. The Reserve Bank of India on February 14, 2023 launched its second Global Hackathon HARBINGER 2023 with the theme. RBI on February 14th launched its second Global Hackathon HARBINGER 2023 with the theme. The theme of this Global Hackathon is Inclusive Digital Services. As I told you for the previous question, the question can be asked in other way also. The RBI has launched its second Global Hackathon. What is the name of the campaign? So we can say it is HARBINGER 2023. And the theme of this Global Hackathon is Inclusive Digital Services. Inclusive Digital Services is the theme of this hackathon. Basically, the hackathon invites participants to develop solutions that have the potential to make digital financial services accessible to the differently abled, facilitate efficient compliance, extend the reach of central bank digital currencies, and enhance the scalability of blockchains. So let's move on to the next question. The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, and the Prime Minister of Singapore, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, on February 21, witnessed the launch of cross-border linkage between India and Singapore using their respective fast payment system, that is UPI of India and PayNow of Singapore. Customers of the participating banks can undertake cross-border remittances to Singapore using the bank's mobile banking app or internet banking. An Indian user can remit up to what amount a single day? As I've told you earlier during the start of the video that I'm going to ask this question, RBI along with Singapore Central Bank, so Shri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India and Prime Minister of Singapore, they've launched this campaign. They've launched this fast payment system wherein the customers of a bank can directly send amount to their counterparts in Singapore using the mobile banking app, just like we are doing UPI here for making payments. We can send cross-border remittances also. So what is the maximum amount a single person can remit in a single day? The answer is 1000 Singapore dollars. So if you convert into rupees, it is approximately equal to 60,000 rupees a day. Since the campaign is launched recently and it is a new campaign, the limits are pretty low right now. Once this is successful, they're subsequently going to increase the limits of the remittances. So right now it is around just Singapore dollar 100,000, sorry, Singapore dollar 1000, which is equal to 60,000 rupees a day. Next question. The RBI on February 13, 2023 announced the beginning of Financial Literacy Week from February 13 to February 17. The theme of this Financial Literacy Week is, once again, the RBI on Feb 13 announced the beginning of Financial Literacy Week 2023 from Feb 13 to Feb 17. The theme of this Financial Literacy Week is Good Financial Behavior, Your Savior. This is the theme of the Financial Literacy Week. Good Financial Behavior, Your Savior is the theme of the Financial Literacy Week. The theme of this Financial Literacy Week, Good Financial Behavior, Your Savior. This theme aligns with the overall strategic objectives of the National Strategy for Financial Education 2020-2025, which aims at building financial resilience and well-being while creating awareness among members of public. Focus will be on creating awareness about savings, planning and budgeting, and prudent use of digital financial services. The Reserve Bank on Jan 2nd, 2023 released the list of domestic systemically important banks, D-SIBs. Which among the following is not one of them? This is a very important question. There are so many public sector and private and foreign banks in this country, but three banks are classified as domestically systemically important banks. What exactly it means, D-SIB? A domestically systemic important bank is that in the event of any stress or a failure of that particular bank will lead to the financial crisis and will spread to all other banks in the country. So that is why these banks have been classified as systemically important banks. So when you classify these banks as systemically important banks, you will pay special attention towards the performance, towards the practices, towards the day-to-day running of these banks to make sure that these banks do not fail, or these banks stand very less probability of defaulting or being a failure. Because if these banks fail, then it will become a contagion effect and many other banks in the country will also get affected. So our RBI has classified three banks as domestically systemic important banks. Those three banks are State Bank of India, HDFC and ICICI banks, one from public sector and two from private sector. Bank of Baroda is not yet classified as systemically important bank. SDF means, this is a term related to RBI borrowing lending. So what exactly SDF means? SDF means standing deposit facility. So what is a standing deposit facility? SDF is a monetary tool that allows banks to park their excess liquidity with RBI without any collateral. You guys might be aware of the repo rate. They might ask repo also. So what exactly is repo? Repo is the rate at which the banks borrow money from Reserve Bank of India. That rate is 6.50. The present repo rate is 6.50. Now, what if the banks which have excess funds with them, excess liquidity with them, if they want to park it with RBI, they will park at what rate? So they will be putting their funds with Reserve Bank of India at 6.25%, which is called as standing deposit facility. And finally, I want to discuss some important policy rates and reserve ratios of RBI. They might ask this question. So we'll see. As I told you just now, repo rate is 6.5%. Repo is the rate at which the banks borrow from RBI. SDF, standing deposit facility, is 6.25%. That is, if bank want to park their liquidity with RBI, it is going to give 0.25% less rate of interest. That is standing deposit facility. And last is MSF. What is marginal standing facility rate? It is 6.75%. So if you look, repo 6.5 minus quarter paisa is SDF 6.25, and quarter paisa plus repo is MSF 6.75. MSF is bank borrowing from the Reserve Bank of India on an urgent or emergency basis. So normally they'll borrow under repo, and if there is an acute shortage and immediately if they need funds and they rush to RBI, they will be allowed to borrow at MSF, that is at 6.75%. So since it is very urgent and banks require the funds immediately, they will be charged little higher rate of interest compared to the repo rate. Bank rate is also 6.75%. It is also almost similar to marginal standing facility. CRR, cash reserve ratio, is 4.50%. Cash reserve ratio is the amount of cash and liquid securities that the banks keep with Reserve Bank of India as a security. So this is 4.50% CRR. And last is statutory liquidity ratio. It is presently around 18%. In this, banks put different forms of securities, gold and liquid securities with Reserve Bank of India to maintain the liquidity with RBI. That is called as statutory liquidity ratio, which is around 18% today. So thank you friends, that's all for this video. I'll come up with a next video. Thank you so much.